Welcome everyone to Proverbs chapter 24. First I'm going to open up in prayer. So dear Lord Jesus, thank you for us being here today. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to learn more of your word and to learn more of your wisdom to apply it to our lives so that we can have a less sufferable life and a more joyful and meaningful and fulfilling life. In Jesus' name, amen. Alright. This song is called Thank You Lord. Hello Mum, hello Brett, welcome. Thank you, Lord. I'm going to play this tomorrow, so I thought I might play it tonight to get some practice. Apparently there's 4 people watching. That's the first. Usually there's not 4 people. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to that. Welcome Amy, welcome. Alright, moving on to Proverbs chapter 24. Proverbs chapter 24. Sing it with me now. Alright, so Proverbs chapter 24, there is 34 verses, nice and easy. And I can't even remember what we talked about last week really. I know it's chapter 23, but anyway, chapter 24, verse 1. Don't envy evil people or desire their company, for their hearts plot violence, and their words always stir up trouble. Truth. A house is built by wisdom and becomes strong through good sense. Through knowledge, its rooms are filled with all sorts of precious riches and valuables. Yes. The wise are mightier than the strong, and those with knowledge grow stronger and stronger. So don't go to war without wise guidance. Victory depends on having many advisors. So you could say that these 3 examples just there is just reiterating that somebody might have, or there might be a perceived strength in something. For example, someone might be really big and strong muscles, but without the knowledge to improve or strategize, then that strength is worthless, really. So knowledge is what's going to progress you forward and be able to utilize that strength in a acceptable manner or a progressive manner to obviously then fulfill what is the desired outcome. Verse 7. Wisdom is too lofty for fools. Among leaders at the city gate, they have nothing to say. So I think, and this term obviously fools is obviously still, as we've gone over this whole book at the moment. Fools are people that have the attitude that they don't need to learn anything more. They don't need to humble themselves to have the attitude of, I don't know everything. They think they know everything. They think that they don't need to be guided or taught anything. So, of course, they're the ones that are going to first to perish. Highly amusing. A person who plans evil will get a reputation as a troublemaker. The schemes of a fool are sinful. Everyone detests a mocker. Verse 10. If you fail under pressure, your strength is too small. And as we just read just then, it said, where is it? The wise are mightier than the strong, and those with knowledge grow stronger and stronger. But if you fail under pressure, if you fail in a certain sense, it's not telling that you're a failure. All that means is that your knowledge or your strength is too small. So you just need to grow that knowledge more or grow that experience more so that your strength obviously becomes larger. Verse 11. Rescue those who are unjustly sentenced to die. Save them as they stagger to their death. Don't excuse yourself by saying, look, we didn't know. For God understands all hearts and he sees you. He who guards your soul knows you knew. He will repay all people as their actions deserve. My child, eat honey, for it is good, and the honeycomb is sweet to the taste. In the same way, wisdom is sweet to your soul. If you find it, you will have a bright future, and your hopes will not be cut short. So these are pretty self-explanatory as well as we go through them, which is good. I like that. Verse 15. Don't wait in ambush at the home of the godly, and don't raid the house where the godly live. The godly may trip 7 times, but they will get up again. But one disaster is enough to overthrow the wicked. How true is that? When you have this mentality of improving or growing, or wanting, in this sense, wanting to be godly, wanting to be pure, you realize that you are going to mess up sometimes, you are going to make mistakes, you are going to fail at times, but that does not determine your attitude of pressing forward, if that makes sense. Once you have this mindset of like, I'm going to progress, I'm going to improve, I'm going to learn from my mistakes or failures, they're not going to define who I am. I'm going to still continue. My attitude is going to define me who I am. If you continuously, like it says, but one disaster is enough to overthrow the wicked are going to be like, oh, I tried, I failed, there's no point in trying, for one, or they'll then hate the game. They'll be like, oh, this is a horrible game anyway, why am I playing it, and then quit the game. They just give up, in a sense, or they plan or they scheme to ambush everyone else's way of playing so that they fail as well, because they don't obviously want to be left alone in failure. They want other people to fail to bring them down to their level. And that is essentially the wicked in all sense. It's just they're driven by envy and jealousy. Number 17. Don't rejoice when your enemies fall. Don't be happy when they stumble, for the Lord will be displeased with you and will turn his anger away from them. I guess that comes back to your attitude. When you rejoice when somebody is falling short, or when someone is an enemy to you, in the sense, for example, let's say that they're mocking you, they're wanting you to fail, so they're finding ways to ambush you, in a sense. And it's because they're coming from a place of inferiority. They obviously feel insecure within themselves, and that they can't handle other people progressing. So they're trying to obviously destroy you, or destroy your path, or intervene so that you trip up. And one thing we've got to realize is, don't take it personally, because it's their insecurities that's why they would want to ambush you. If they weren't insecure within themselves, they wouldn't even be focusing on you. They wouldn't be focusing on your success or your failure. They would be trying to focus on themselves, trying to improve. So you've got to personally take that act of them, yes, interfering with you, but be like, okay, if they fall and stumble, that's because they've put themselves on that path, and I can't really do anything exceptionally to, no matter what I say, they're going to look at it as if I'm trying to tell them what to do because I'm in a better place. So you've got to just leave them and let them stumble on their own until they realize, hang on, they're in control of their own destiny, so to speak, in their own way and in their own success. Because once we do have this, you fall, you've tried to trick me this whole time. You've tried to take control of my destiny, and here you are tripping up over your own destiny. But even with that attitude, they actually have control of your attitude and your destiny already, because you've just granted them the power and satisfaction, in a sense, of your attention to them, of their existence, or their validation, or their validation of existence, if that makes sense. So they have power over you, in a sense, when you start laughing and mocking at them. But if you start cheering them on, and if you still continue to cheer them on when they're progressing, even though they're still probably attacking you, that's when God's most pleased. Is that he's like, yes, you're seeing that we're all in this together. We're all trying to make it to the end goal. Some people sort of miss or change direction of their path or their focus, and they start focusing at other people and they want to, attack them to bring them down so they feel good about themselves. But really, it's just they got to try and get their focus back on just improving themselves and focusing on their own journey. And that's what we all need to do, just focus on your own journey. Cheer other people on, yes, but don't laugh or don't judge someone who isn't progressing forward or isn't on the right path, or their focus has wavered off the journey, if that makes sense. Don't fret because of evildoers. Don't envy the wicked, for evil people have no future. The light of the wicked will be snuffed out. And just along that concept of, if your focus is on your journey and your path, and you want to be godly, especially in this context, you're aiming to be godly, you're aiming to please God and be righteous and holy, etc. The minute that you deter your focus off holiness and focus on other people, you're no longer going to end up in holiness ever. You're going to end up somewhere else, and no, everywhere else. You won't be where you need to be, or where the main point is. You'll be somewhere else. You'll be in death, in a sense. Always, you probably go around in circles as well. Like you would constantly be blinded by darkness because you're not focusing on that holiness, that godliness, so to speak. So people that you drift off, the minute that you drift off and focus on someone else, you've, in a sense, stepped on the evil path, because you're now coming to a sense of comparison, and comparison obviously leads to judgment, and you lose your joy. You come to detest people's success, or feel sorry for yourself that you're not successful. So it's always just ends up in negative mindset and a negative field, so to speak. Verse 21, my child, fear the Lord and the King. Don't associate with rebels, for disaster will hit them suddenly. Who knows what punishment will come from the Lord and the King? Verse 23, here are some further sayings of the wise. It is wrong to show favoritism when passing judgment. A judge who says to the wicked, you are innocent, will be cursed by many people and denounced by the nations. But it will go well for those who convict the guilty. Rich blessings will be showered on them. 26. An honest answer is like a kiss of friendship. Do your planning and prepare your fields before building your house. And again, that comes back to the concept of education, or knowledge is more powerful than the tools that you have. Because, for example, if you have a hammer, but you don't know how to use the hammer, or you use it on the wrong, let's say you start hitting a fish with the hammer. That's the first thing that came to my mind. If you start hitting the fish with the hammer, obviously you're not going to build a house using a hammer to hit a fish. You obviously need to hit a nail, and that nail obviously goes between two pieces of wood or whatever. And that's the purpose of a hammer. So if you don't have that knowledge of the purpose of the hammer, or the real reason of why the hammer is existent, then the hammer is useless, and in a sense you're useless. So knowledge, planning and preparing your fields before building your house. You have to understand what things are and their purpose of them before you can really utilize them to their full potential. And that comes with ourselves as well. If we don't know ourselves, if we don't really understand ourselves in the sense, like even recently when I found out that I'm more than likely a highly sensitive person, I would still be frustrated and angry with myself that I have overly sensitive ears to certain loud sounds, and it frustrated me. Or that I get really jittery and overwhelmed when I'm in big crowds, and it's just like I can say to myself all the time, just get over it. But now that I understand, okay, this is actually a trait that is within myself, sort of thing, within my DNA, you could say. I can then go, okay, it's not something that I can excessively change or be angry at because that's part of who I am, but I can find ways to manage it. So I can find ways to and tell when I'm getting too overwhelmed and try and find ways to adjust so that I'm not going to be so overwhelmed that I lose, in a sense, control of my surroundings, my sense of who I am, etc. So you must know yourself, and also know what you're good at and what you're not good at. Know what you're most curious about in certain subjects and certain things of your life. When you know the things that you're most interested in, or the things that you're attracted to, or the things that you find passion in, or things that you have an ease to learning or wanting to teach, or, for example, when you know those things about you, then the more that you can be utilized in those things to obviously help others in that field to understand or, improve their sense of well-being and their lives, etc. Hopefully that makes sense. Verse 28. Don't testify against your neighbors without cause. Don't lie about them. And don't say, now I can pay them back for what they've done to me. I'll get even with them. Don't seek out revenge. Never ends well, because then if you seek out revenge, then they want to seek out revenge on you. And then you want to seek out revenge again on them. And then they want to, and just back and forth, back and forth. Where does it end? Where does it end? Verse 30. I walked by the field of a lazy person, the vineyard of one with no common sense. I saw that it was overgrown with nettles. It was covered with weeds, and its walls were broken down. Then, as I looked and thought about it, I learned this lesson. A little extra sleep, a little more slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. Then poverty will pounce on you like a bandit. Scarcity will attack you like an armed robber. And I feel like that has been said before in one of the earlier chapters. The exact same thing, pretty much word for word, actually. Where if you do have this mentality of, I'll do it tomorrow, and you never do it tomorrow. And you keep, it's like money, or it's in a sense, this is about work. If you don't do work, actually, this is a good example. One of the housemates that I used to live with, he would only work when he actually needed money. So he would work for his family in like a labouring job where when he needed money, he'll ask them, hey, can I come work for a week so I can get some more money, because I obviously need to live. And they were like, yeah, sure, whatever. So he would work for the week, and that would set him up for about 2 or 3 weeks pay for rent and food. So he would only work when he needed to. But there would be times where he'd be caught out, where he realizes, oh no, I've run out of money, now I need to go work again, but I can't work because it's been raining, so I've got no money. So he would ask his friends to pay for his rent or pay for his food, and he will pay them back. But he did this over and over again, and to the point where he would treat his friends like bank accounts, like in a sense, credit card or something like along those lines, a loan. And what happens when he has, in a sense, no friends, or they get tired of that, or they lose their jobs? Like, he can't sustain that. And what if his family decides to not run the business anymore? Then he has to go look for a proper job. So he hasn't had a proper job for a very long time, and he's just every 4th week or every 3rd week he'll go and work for his family just to get some money, just to survive for that next 2 or 3 weeks. And poverty would pounce. He would be like, oh no, I don't have any money anymore, now I have to work again. And it wouldn't be consistent, and there would be no rhythm, and it would be so spontaneous that you just didn't know if he was good for the week or if he wasn't good for the week. And that isn't healthy. Whether you do that with your money, whether you do that with your friends, like your emotional sense or your social sense. Even for work, it's not that great. Like, if he had a proper job, they'd probably just fire him and be like, well, if you don't want to work, then we don't want you. So it's not the most beneficial attitude or mindset to have. Anyway, that finishes Proverbs chapter 24. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to have some water because my throat is becoming very dry. I talk too much, I realise. Obviously I have to. No one else is going to talk for me, are they? No, unfortunately not. Who else is there? I do not know those people. Alright, on to Adrian's, what do you call it? Posts. Ooh. I always get distracted. When you go to the search section and it shows up like videos like Reels and other posts, and you find something like there, it just showed us a quick video of a spider making its web. I'm going, ooh, and then I forget what I'm actually doing. I'm like, wait, why am I searching? What am I searching? Where am I going? Anyway, okay, number 24. When you respect yourself, others will too. And that's so true. The more you understand yourself, the more you get to know yourself, the more you respect your body and your, in a sense, your whole being, your entity. You understand that you might get frustrated in certain situations. So you're like, okay, you want to respect that, you got to set a boundary. For example, if you have some people that you feel like they drain energy from you, then you got to put up those boundaries and go, okay, I need to limit my time with them and limit how much energy I spend with them, because then I start to resent them, I start having negative thoughts towards them, and it puts me in a bad mood, and I don't want to be in a bad mood. I don't want to be in this state of bad energy this whole time. So you learn to respect yourself and go, okay, I respect my sense of well-being, that I need to put up that boundary and limit myself. Same when if you're at work and they ask you consistently all the time that, you know, that you to work overtime, or they're pushing you to work in a sense for free, and you feel obligated to, because, you know, they've given you this job and you want to please them and keep them happy so you can keep your job, so to speak. But if they're taking advantage of you, then they're disrespecting you. And that's, in a sense, they disrespect you because you're disrespecting yourself by not putting up those boundaries, by saying, no, I can't do this, or sticking to your no, sticking to your guns and being like, well, I'm not getting paid for this, so I'm going to leave. Like, you can't use and abuse me for yourself, for your own benefit, when I'm not getting anything out of it, so to speak. So always respect yourself, and others will as well. And I have to learn this really hard with my graphic design. Like, obviously when you're, and especially for a PT, when you're first starting off, you give your services at a discount price, or sometimes a free PT session before people jump onto, what do you call it, sticking or committing to your services full price. And sometimes you give discounts to people because they've been with you for a very long time, or they've been your founder sort of members, for example, or your founder, your initial. But if you continually, give discounts to people, even to friends and family, and friends of friends, for example, then you're selling yourself short of respecting, in a sense, yourself, because you need to pay bills. You need to obviously feed yourself and your family if you have family. So you need to respect that and be like, well, no, I am worth this much. I have this much experience. I've had this much knowledge and education. So I need to now respect myself and actually charge the price that I need to obviously to continue living and to give good quality work. Because the more that obviously you give discounts, the more you're going to resent the people that you're working for and not do an actual great job at your work, with your work. Because, you know, your job is your art, so to speak. And you obviously want to give good quality work, but the only way you can really appreciate that or be grateful for your hard work is if you're getting paid equivalently, properly, equally, evenly, whatever that word is, the right amount, so to speak. Anyway, that is it for this Bible chapter, Proverbs chapter 24. Hope you enjoyed that. And obviously Adrian's number 24, which is when you respect yourself, others will too. And yeah, hopefully you have... I had to do this one on a Saturday as well because Wednesday... What did I do Wednesday? Usually I try and do these Wednesdays at around 8:30 now. Oh, that's right. I had PT's late and then I actually did a gym session because I didn't get to do a gym session in that day. Thursday I had a meeting, and then Friday I got home too late from Sydney, so I had to do it today. So hopefully next Wednesday it will be back to 8:30, but we shall see. Anyway, hope you all have a good day, and I shall see you all later. Thank you. You're welcome, Mum. Anytime. See you later, and have a wonderful day. King up.